Hello and welcome to Talkback Thursday. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Taylor Dyleski, Director of Production for the Jay and Susie Gogue Performing Arts Center at Auburn University. For today's edition of Talkback Thursday, we're coming to you live from the Woltosz Theatre. If you've been in the Gogue Center for a performance, probably used to coming and finding your seat, sitting back and enjoying a spectacular performance. Today, we're going to go to give you an exclusive behind the curtain experience, giving you a chance to see what happens backstage. There's way too much to share in just one episode, so today we're going to focus on a couple things: our orchestra pit lift, our counterweight fly system, and our 2 concert pianos. Along the way, I'm going to introduce you to some of our incredible production team who makes all of this happen. First, I'm going to turn it over to Paul Anton, who's going to talk to us about our orchestra pit lift.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Anton, Production Manager of Lighting here at the Gogue Performing Arts Center. And today I want to talk about our orchestra lift. If you look behind me, you may actually have had the pleasure of sitting in these 2 rows of seats if you've seen a production here with the Gogue Performing Arts Center. What you may not know is that actually this area of our stage has multiple configurations. It also is a very large elevator. The configuration you see here today is actually our audience configuration. It's set at the level of the rest of our audience, and it has 2 rows of seats, which helps maximize our seating capacity for our performances. The other 2 configurations we have are our orchestra configuration, which we go down to our basement level. With the seats removed, we can actually place a 33-piece orchestra on the pit and into the extended area underneath our stage, which we'll look at here in a second. And then third, we have the stage configuration, where we can actually remove all the seats and all the walls, take this level up to match our stage, and actually extend our stage about 12 feet out and really bring the action out to you, the audience. Let's start out by actually going down to our lowest level, which is the orchestra level, and look at that. As you can hear the horn, that is actually a warning for anyone on stage or in the audience to let them know that the pit elevator is moving. This is a very large elevator. It's constructed to handle 50,000 pounds static and up towards of 16,000 pounds while moving, which means that we can use it to move any of our equipment that we want to store down in our basement level, which we're about to look at, on this elevator. All we have to do is remove all the seats. They're bolted in, remove them, move them aside, and we can move equipment on, lower the pit, and then roll our equipment off into the basement area. As we're continuing our descent, we can talk about actually our safety features. As you can see, we actually stopped midway. Here on my right, you can see the safety curtain. This prevents anyone from falling underneath the elevator while it's in its up position. Should it be open in travel, as what just happened, the elevator will stop moving. So it's actually a good example of our safety features. As we reach our basement level, we'll actually open the curtain and we'll show you how the area of our orchestra level extends underneath the stage. So as you can see here, underneath our stage, we have an extension that allows us to, between this area and the lift area, we can seat over 33 members for a full orchestra. We also, in the far back there, have area to store extra stage equipment. So that's the aspect of the elevator. We use it to bring the equipment down and roll it into storage. Now we'll close up that safety curtain and we'll travel up to our higher configuration, which is the stage configuration. So I've already talked about how much weight this can handle. So statically, it can hold 50,000 pounds. So that's 50,000 pounds while it's not moving, 16,000 while it's moving. So this lift is constructed of just steel I-beams with a wood floor, all of which is sitting on 4 pistons. These pistons are designed and installed by Gala Systems. These pistons work like a slinky. Imagine a slinky that as it extends, all the different sections lock together and make a solid structure. That allows it to be extremely strong, but also when it's constricted, to be very small. So it takes up very middle space. We don't have to go far down below our building for the system. It just contracts to a very small space. And as we make our way up, all the way up to the stage level, as I said before, we can actually remove all the rows of seats, these protective walls, and actually extend our stage out an additional 12 feet. This gives us more acting space. And that is our Gala lift. Now, as we make our way up to stage, we'll pass it off to our next.
Hey, Paul, quick question. What
Yes.
shows have we used the stage extension for this season? Some of our classical concerts.
our classical concerts, anytime that we have our orchestra shell in place, we pull the seats and use the lift as an extension so they have full room to travel with the grand piano and everything else as well. Cool. All right, here we are at our stage level, and we'll move on to the next.
Thanks, Paul. So as Paul mentioned, we've used the stage in multiple ways this season. We're excited too with a couple of our Broadway shows to use the orchestra pit for the first time, to have an orchestra downstairs. Unfortunately, we didn't get to use that this season, but we'll have that opportunity soon. So I want to take us over to the fly rail. So I'm going to pass it off to Adam, who's going to talk to you about the fly rail.
Hey, I'm Adam Woodson. I'm the production manager of stage operations and rigging. Today, I will be talking about the fly rail. You might be interested in knowing what a fly rail is. It is a counterweight system or a pulley system that is designed to fly scenery up or down on stage. And sometimes we'll hang lights on it. Sometimes it'll be scenery. Sometimes it'll be soft goods, which are the curtains that you'll see on the stage before the performance or during the performance. So what we have here, these are called line sets, and we have a total of 60 possible line sets on the stage. So we could, in theory, hang 60 different pieces of scenery, lighting, or anything like that. This pulley system is also known as a counterweight system, and it works like a balance of scales or a seesaw. So whatever weight I put here, which is notated by these bricks right here, is what needs to equal out there. So right here, you see all this yellow brick, and this yellow brick is actually what a single weight of pipe, and our pipes are 63 feet long. So that's what that weighs by that. And these are 40-pound pieces. We actually have some that are actually 20-pound pieces. How does it all work? Well, I could load this up with almost 2,000 pounds, and if it's balanced correctly, I can move it with one hand. So it's pretty ingenious how you can grab one thing and move it up and down with one hand, one arm, in a safe, easy manner. And these right here, these are what are called rope locks, or brakes, known in the theater world. So what would happen is you would pull this brake, you pull the front or back rope to get the scenery to know where it goes, or where you want it to go, and then you would push this brake or the rope lock back in, and put the safety ring back on it, and keep the rope lock moving. So I mentioned that our line sets are armored, which are what the weight is stacked on, will hold almost 2,000 pounds. Hopefully we'll never have a scenery piece that heavy, but if it happens, we'll make it work. So now, if you pull this front rope down, you'll be bringing the scenery in, which is also known as down. If you pull the back rope down, the scenery or the piece of whatever it is on there will go up. Now, what we have in this is if we got something like a piece of scenery moves fast during the show, we'll have spike marks on this rope. So we'll put a piece of tape. How we prefer to do it is we put a piece of tape here, and we'll tape it right here at this rope lock, and you'll see the tape coming or going out, and you'll be able to stop it on that mark. That's how, if you saw any of our Broadway shows this year, you saw a scenery piece moving up or down, you saw it stop at an exact point, that's where that spike mark was. So,
Adam, I've got a quick question.
yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Talk us through the process of loading weight. So a Broadway show, you could be loading 30 line sets at one time. How does that work, and how do you keep it safe?
Okay, how to keep it safe is you are very vocal with people that are bobbing on the grid. So up top, which you can't see right now, we've got a load rail, which is almost 65 feet above us right now. And what somebody would do up there is, I'll bring this in real quick. What someone would do is upstairs is they will make a safety call, and they'll ask where, or they'll say, hey, I'm at line set 25. These are individual numbers, so you actually know where people are. And I would say, please load 1,000 pounds on line set 25. They would ask if the rail was clear. We would clear the area out to a safe mark that we have, and then we would say, the rail is clear, please load. And they take these, lift these up, and either one person can hold it or you can tie this up here and keep it out of the way while the person grabs a piece of weight, you load in, and load 1,000 pounds that way. So that's, to answer your question, Taylor, I hope that wasn't too long. No, it's great. So now when you're making calls during a show, it's obviously silent. You've got somebody backstage telling you when to go, when to stop. But for example, right now I was going to fly a load.
I got one more quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So during a show, Adam, you might have 3 or 4 people flying scenery during a show. You've got the stage manager calling. How does that stage manager communicate to you or the multiple people running this?
It's a good question.
The show.
There are a variety of different ways. For our Broadway shows, we had a point of contact that was in contact with the stage manager, and they gave us our cue backstage. Up here, we got these white lights, but they had blue lights, green lights, and red lights for certain shows. So we would go, hey, their contact, their technical director would look at us and go, hey, on the green light, pull line set 25 out at a medium speed and stop at the orange spike mark or the third spike mark, depends on what the show was. So they're making that call. I would wait here by this road, and they say take line set 25 out, and the blue light goes out. And you look up and watch the blue light, pull the rope when it goes, and you go to start and stop.
Very cool. It's incredible what you can lift with just the weight in a single person.
Yes, it is. And it's a single purchase system. So, like I said earlier, whatever weight is here, it's designed to have that amount of weight out there, and it reaches a balance point where it becomes a little imbalanced. That's the whole thing. So,
and when you're loading weight, you're not loading weight down here, correct?
No,
you're loading weight 72 feet.
You're loading weight 72 feet in the air. And it's a very dangerous, exhilarating, but safe thing if you do it right.
That's
you do it that way. What's that?
How we add the weight here.
Oh, how you add the weight here. So ideally, you would load you would fly in or bring in a bat, which is a pipe, and you would put all the weight on it that you need to put on it. Then you would say, hey, the pipe is loaded, you can start loading. And you can start loading the weight up there. If you look behind me right here, an example of a lot of weight is the orchestra shell that we have that goes with another video that we'll talk about in the future probably. This is about 3,000 pounds, maybe a little more, and it's driven by a chain, so it takes all the guesswork out. J.R. Clancy provided us all our rigging equipment, and they gave us it's a machine controller basically that they program painstakingly for a while, and then they gave us they instructed us how to use it, and we use that to move these heavy pieces like this. We've got an automated piece for our main curtain too, because the main curtain weighs about 1,400 pounds, give or take, and it can go in and out in under 10 seconds, which is horrifying to move that much weight that fast. So people don't do that; the machines do that as they're programmed to do.
Very cool. Do you mind showing us an example of what you got?
I'd love to give you an example of what we got. Right here, we've got what's the third electric for us that Paul did before the break, and it is our line set 26. So the proper way to do this is you call line set 26 going out or coming in, which is up or down. We theater people have our own language to each other. So I would say line set 26 going out. If you want to pan the camera over there, raise it up and lower it down a few times. Line set 26 going out.
Yeah.
And you raise it by pulling the back rope and lower it by pulling the front rope. And if you want to see the rope move, I kind of jumped the gun a little bit there.
You want to take that all the way out for us, Adam?
Yes, I'd love to. I'll take it out to the spike mark. 26 going out the spike.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Adam. That was really cool. It's amazing what you can do with just some weight. So I want to turn it over next to Chris Burke, who's at our piano storage closet. He's going to talk to us a little bit about our two concert grand pianos we have at the Gogue Center.
Hi everyone, my name's Chris Burke. I'm the audio production manager here at the Gogue. I'm gonna tilt this up a little bit so you guys can chop my head off. So we have two pianos here at the Gogue. We have a Steinway Model D and a Bosendorfer BC280. These two were generously given to us by two great donors. The Bosendorfer by Bob and Julie Broadway and for Nick Davis, and the Steinway by the Scott family for Barbara Woodward Haley. And you can see their names right here above the door as well, that they've named the pianos after. It's pretty rare that a performing arts center have two pianos available at any time to use, especially in like a performing arts center like ours. And the Steinway is actually in the closet right here. If you want to roll forward, you can see the closet. So this closet is temperature and humidity controlled. Basically, the point of that is so that we can control the temperature and humidity separate from what's happening on the stage. So that way, if we have to leave the doors open on stage or anything like that, none of that gets into this room and affects the sound of the piano or puts it out of tune or things like that. It basically helps the piano last a longer lifespan. Plus, it doesn't have to be tuned as much, even though we do tune these very regularly. So that's kind of a shot of the inside of this door. Here's our Steinway Model D. So the Steinway is a very common piano used all over the country, all over the world, especially the Model D. It's just a very popular piano. It's a bright, straightforward sound. It cuts through really well, and it's used a lot in orchestral and a lot of pop and all kinds of things. So it's probably the most versatile. Steinway is the name that you hear from everyone when you talk about a piano usually. If we scroll back a little bit here, roll back a little bit and look at our Bosendorfer. This is the Bosendorfer BC280. So there's only a handful of these in the US, this model. And this is the only one in a performing arts center. All the rest are in either private collections, houses, or recital halls. So we're very fortunate to have this piano. It has a very round and dark sound. Basically, the reason why you have multiple pianos and types is so that when an artist comes into the building for their rehearsal, we can roll both pianos out on stage, and they can pick which one they prefer, especially in the space, because every space is different and every piano is different. So they want to play the instrument and they want to see, okay, what does this one sound like in this space, and what does this one sound like in this space, and then they can make a decision based off of what they know about the pianos and the space and what they hear as to which one they want to use for their performance. So an example of this would be for Sutton Foster. She used this for her performance because the round, dark sound, which doesn't cover up the vocal range of the frequency spectrum, whereas the Steinway might cut through and it would be conflicting a little bit. So that's kind of a intro to those two. And the thing about these instruments is they're not just instruments, they're pieces of art. And we want to preserve them for as long as they can. And we really like to show them off and let people see them and really appreciate the design and effort that goes into making one of these. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of hours that go into, especially this Bosendorfer. I mean, the Steinway takes hundreds of hours. This thing, the intricacies of what they do on the inside and how it looks is phenomenal, and how it sounds. So I'm going to play a little bit of this for you. I don't play for piano professionally, but I'll just play a little bit of something so you can get an idea. I'm not sure how it's going to translate on there, but you get an idea of how this sounds. Now I'll take it back to Taylor.
Chris, I've actually got a quick question
Oh, okay.
for you. Talk us through, you mentioned how an artist a lot of times will bring both pianos out on stage. Talk to us about where the tuner, the piano technician comes into this process and how that relationship with the artist makes the instrument perfect for them.
Sure. So the pianos, they get tuned basically before every performance, and also about every couple of weeks, especially during the last couple of months when we haven't had any events. We've wanted to make sure these stay in top condition, because if they get out of tune, they're really difficult to get back in tune. There's possibilities of breaking strings, things like that. So you really want to maintain them as well as you can all the time. It's like having a swimming pool. If you roll it this way a little bit, I can actually show you the inside of the piano. So the inside of this piano is very, very beautiful. Just how well they've designed this piano. So when a technician comes in to basically look at this piano, and tune it, they would prefer that we bring it out a day in advance into the space. So the reason why we do that is because the humidity might slightly be different from this room and the room out here. So when we roll it out, it allows the piano to just sit and adjust to the space. Because basically when things heat up, they expand, and then when they cool down, they contract. So that's the same process with these strings. So if you notice in here, for one key, so if you look at this key right here, so there's a damper right here. When you press the key, the damper comes up, and then a hammer comes up and strikes that string. But there's not just one string, there's 3 strings. So those 3 strings are tuned to a specific note, and they're usually, sometimes they'll tune them just slightly out of tune with each other, so it's very close, but slightly out of tune. So it's not actually just hitting one string, it's hitting 3 different strings. And all 3 of those strings have to be tuned, and then every string of the piano has to be in tune with each other. So it's quite a process, and I'm by no means a professional piano tuner or ever tuned a piano in my life, but it's definitely a learned skill that takes years to master, and we have some very good ones that come and tune our instruments. And they work really well with the artist, so they'll come and they'll tune before the artist even shows up. Then the artist comes in, they'll rehearse, and then the artist can even tell the tuner, hey, I'd like it to be a little more sharp, or a little more flat, or this felt a little weird, or this felt a little weird. And then the tuner will come in between the rehearsal and the performance, and they'll touch it up, is what they call it, and touch it up in the way that the artist prefers. So there's a lot more that goes into a piano than just hitting a key. It's all about how it's voiced and tuned and all of that. Like I said, those people that do that are masters of listening and making the piano sound really great as it can. What other questions do we have?
Anybody else have a question about the piano? I think that's it, Chris. Thanks.
Cool. All right, I'll turn it back over to Taylor.
Again, thanks, Chris. You're right. There's a lot that goes into keeping those pianos in tip-top shape. As Chris mentioned, we've got some wonderful partners in Sally Phillips out of Columbus, who tunes and takes care of all those pianos. So we also got 2 additional uprights in the lobby. Again, thanks for joining us. This is our first installation of a tech talk. We've got a lot of other things we want to cover in the future. We've got, you can see the beautiful acoustics out in the hall, lots of lighting, audio, our adjustable prosceniums, our orchestra shell, lots and lots of things that we want to cover. Want to remind you guys to join us next Thursday at 1 o'clock for our next Talkback Thursday. And also, Monday, we have a very special thing going on our Facebook page. Kennedy Center's Couch Concert Series will be hosting Music of Alabama, which has been curated by our very own Amy Miller, Director of Programming and Education. So join us Monday at 3 p.m., is that correct? 3 p.m. on our Facebook page for some content from the Kennedy Center and Alabama artists. So thanks so much, and have a great weekend.